Hey everybody, Paul Worth here with Buildertrend, coming into you today with another episode of Real Talk with Real Pros. Very excited today to have Brett and Kara from High Street Homes. They are out of Fort Worth, Texas. We are doing this one a little bit earlier for all those avid listeners. You know, we usually go about 3 o'clock. We're doing this at 12 because they've got kids, like many of us, and responsibilities. And so we've got to work around that, and we're happy to do that. Shout out to my kids at school, learning. We're also coming to you live from the office. It's an empty office, which is always sad to see, but it's good to get back and have all the viewers check out our office. I can maybe walk around a little bit later if anybody wants me to do that, throw that in the comments. We actually are doing something really cool today. We are doing a drive-through lunch for our employees. As some of you know, we have 550 full-time Buildertrend employees. We love seeing them. So we've got this drive-through lunch set up outside. People are driving through, grabbing some great food. From those who are from the Midwest know a place called Runza. Google it if you've never heard of it. It's definitely a Omaha and Nebraska tradition. So we're throwing Runzas out to our great employees, getting some FaceTime. So we're really excited about that. Enough of that though. We are here for Real Talk, Real Pros. We've got some really cool pros in Brett and Kara from High Street Homes. They are married and in business together. So we're going to talk to them about how that's working out. I don't know, all of us could do that with our wives. I love my wife, Carrie, of 5 years. Just don't know if we could be working together. So we're definitely going to be talking about that and any other questions you have. So great thing about a live is that we'd love for you to join in, interact. So hit the comment button below. Throw your questions for myself, anything about myself or Buildertrend, and of course for Brett and Kara from High Street Homes. Also, you obviously follow Buildertrend on Instagram, so we love that. We're at 10,900 followers. Catherine over to my left here is our social media expert, and she handles all of our social media. So do her a solid. Tell your friends, join or follow Buildertrend on Instagram. Get us over the 11,000 mark. That would be much appreciated. Okay, so I am going to bring on our guests. So bear with me here. Let me grab Brett and Kara. You can also see I'm holding this mobile. Hey guys.
Hi.
Welcome. Good. I was just telling the audience that I'm holding this time. I usually have a tripod, so my arm's gonna get tired and I'm gonna have to switch it, but yeah, we'll survive. We'll you guys are all set up.
Do some abs.
Yeah.
We'll be a little bit lower.
Yeah, you guys got to shrink a little bit. Yeah. Hey, thanks for joining. Good to see you guys again.
Good to see you.
We're glad to be
here. So we actually did an episode of the Building Code. So for all those who are listening and viewing, the Building Code's our podcast. We are creeping up on 100 episodes, so we're super excited about that. Episode 74, I believe it was in June, we had you two on to talk about your business, and it was really, really great. So check that episode out for all you podcast people out there. So obviously, we teased this episode as talking about being a married couple and owning a construction business or any business. So we want to talk about that, not to put you on the spot or anything, only say good things. But first, why don't you just tell the audience about High Street Homes, just sort of that 30-second, high level, who you are and what you do.
Perfect. And can you hear us okay, Paul? Is everybody?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Catherine's on it too. She gave me a thumbs up, so we're good.
Okay.
All right. Nice.
You can go.
Well, okay. I'll try to keep
Already.
it 30 seconds.
How nice. Wow.
That's
I'm writing down tips.
Yeah, so we began, it was a little bit of a personal journey is how our business kind of started and who we are. We're High Street Homes and a design and build firm. And when we decided to build our first home, my dad actually was in development and building it. And so he had kind of offered like, hey, you guys, why don't you build on some property out here? And we said, okay, absolutely. We built our first home. We fell in love with it. We started our company. Our first project was essentially we sold the home that we built, and then we went into business because we loved it so much that we said we want to do this. We started a speculative home. We built a speculative home. We sold it, and then we went into business and had clients, custom clients ever since. So it was a really different way of going into business and starting our company, but it was very organic and great for us.
Yeah, the part Kara forgot to say was we
Oh,
our first year of marriage, we lived with Kara's parents. So we saved salaries for the full first
Okay.
year, built with another builder. We basically designed the house. In the process, fell in love, lived in that house for 5 months, and then sold it. And then moved back in with Kara's parents because we like a free place to live. And then
love free places to live.
unlike most builders and designers out there, you end up building and selling and kind of moving and doing that hustle. And
Right.
so we fell in love, and then we built our first spec house and then sold it. And then we're doing custom work ever since. And that all was we built our first home in 2011, sold it 2012. And that's when our business started.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you guys are in, I don't know if we mentioned this, Fort Worth, Texas, right? So
Just outside of Fort Worth. Mm-hmm.
Fort Worth. Okay. And we asked you this on the podcast. We always love to know how the name came about. I think it's an interesting story. So do you want to just tell the audience about how you came up with High Street?
Yeah, we love the idea of being the heart of the town. And so Main Street obviously is like very all-American, and we love things with a little culture, a little patina. And so High Street is kind of the main crossroads of life that happens in the UK. So for us, High Street is kind of the main street of the UK, and so we're not British, but we like the sentiment and we like the history and we like the context of things that last a long time, and so that's kind of fused in with our design as well.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, very, very cool story. I love that. So a lot of what you guys are doing is design focused. Your first home, you said you did all the design. Just from talking to you, I know that's definitely your niche. People come to you for design, if that's fair to say. How'd that start? And can you just talk to me about your philosophy there?
Well, I mean, it really started from this. That's what we kind of had lacked in that first experience when we built our first home with another builder who was great. But we knew that it was at a really interesting time where like Pinterest was coming on the scene and design was becoming very accessible. And so we really started infusing that. And that was one of the first things that really set us apart and why we went into custom work so quickly from building our first home, because we really start with design, both from the floor plan aspect and like the materials and what we're going for. And it really kind of informs the way in which we build. And so that's always kind of been the case. And that's what our clients, they get a very different experience with us because we kind of bring everything in one spot.
I think adding to that too, one thing that we fell in love with was floor plans. And so we're not trained architects, but we pretty much hand draw every plan that we've lived in or that we've built and kind of partner with the appropriate partners to make sure that we're building appropriately into scale. And so for us, like we love the way a house flows. And so I think that kind of guides our design first, other than just selections and textures and architectural finishes. I think the footprint and the way we live in a house is really important to us. And so I think that really is where we started with our love of design, and then it kind of obviously lends into the other prettier, more functional things as well. Yeah,
you guys are obviously very popular. I mean, you have like 30,000 plus Instagram followers. Is that right? Did I write that down right? So. Yeah, 31,000. Let's add a few more, everybody.
Yeah,
follow.
Yeah. We love friends.
There you go. We'll do a follow fest. So let's talk about design, because I think that's what people follow you for. And I think you guys have a unique take on, like you said, an open flow design. So structurally, what do you guys like about setting up a home structurally, design wise? And also, is that what's happening popular? Like what's a new trend or a trend you want to talk about?
Well, I'm trying to bring the laundry room back because I really feel like it's a part of the home that kind of gets overlooked. I mean, obviously in the really large homes, yes, laundry rooms are done really well. But I feel like as you start scaling homes down, you start to go, well, you take things out. So the laundry room loses the window and it loses, the sink so we've been talking a lot about how do we really make every room, and now that we're, because of how we've all been home, it's like, how do you make every room have a little bit more purpose and meaning and bring just kind of like an everyday beauty to it. And so we're looking at pantries and laundry rooms and all of those parts of the house that have kind of gotten pushed aside. And how can we make them more special in a place that you actually want to spend time in?
I love that. So what are some of your ideas for making the laundry room bringing sexy back to the laundry room?
That's exactly it.
Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
I think what are you doing?
I think a lot of what I've seen happen over the years is we started putting walls into place, and we like walls. We really do. We love separate spaces. But I think in this scenario, really rethinking specifically taking the pantry that can be kind of like a little box and creating an everyday pantry, a really beautiful hutch in the kitchen that serves the like, let me grab out the bread to put in the toaster, or let me grab just like the essentials, and bringing maybe the pantry and the laundry and all those like walled off parts together, and then making them really beautiful with cabinetry. And maybe that's even a place that you can walk through, like the mud room, or, you know, it's actually a pass through, and just give it a little bit more space and use that square footage in a way that's really beautiful and functional.
Yeah, I've seen that as a trend, a usable pantry, like whether it's a walkthrough or not, it's where people are putting like a lot of their coffee makers and like countertop type appliances. They put them and they set them up in there and they use them in there, right? So it's got to be a little bit more than just a closet.
Yep, absolutely.
Is that fair? Yeah.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Got it.
Yeah, no, that wasn't me. That's one of our friends who just remodeled. So shout out to them. So you're seeing a lot of that stuff, and I think that's really neat. So let's flip to what everybody wants to hear about, which is working husband and wife. One thing I want to know before you guys joined forces, what did you guys do? What were your prior occupations?
I was working in higher education at a local university in Fort Worth, and ran a leadership program and did student development.
Okay.
So I have a master's in organizational leadership, and so that kind of helps in the people
that's helpful.
And human component. And so it kind of had two different lives of higher education and then entrepreneurship, kind of side by side.
Okay.
And I was a cash manager for a company. They actually have a pretty large, a family company that has a large real estate holding out here. So.
Okay. So outside of real estate, you guys were coming really fresh to this industry, which I think is awesome. I think some of the best clients we have at Buildertrend sort of take a fresh approach to it. So what gave you guys the confidence to make that leap? I mean, that's a huge leap to leave your everyday job and, you know, start a business, let alone start one together.
Well, I think this is a really interesting question, because something that was very smart for us is we didn't immediately leave our jobs. For a couple of years, we really balanced all of it until it nearly did us in. But it was smart because it didn't put so much pressure on the business, and we just took a lot fewer projects, and then we just kind of slowly worked it in. But the flip side of that was, until we really left our jobs and dove 100% in, I felt like we were kind of like limited. So
one foot in, one foot out.
Yeah.
I think we had a little bit of, so Kara moved 18, 19 times in like the town outside of Fort Worth where we live. So I think she had that real estate sort of, she said she would never do it, and then she married me, and then we did
do that.
But
here we are.
Here we are. But I think in having the relationship with some family, understanding of the industry and sort of access to different land, and the opportunity to do it, I think there were some trades and different relationships that were already set up. But I don't know, I think there's something about being young sometimes when you just are bold and you think, I'm doing this, and there's kind of
I'm so glad we were young and naive, because looking back, I'm like, what were we thinking, you know? But I think when you see, like, we really saw a place in the market for us, and we were building for ourselves, which is what started the entire thing. And so in essence, we were kind of young doing it, and so we were really building for the people that were coming right behind us to want and look for the same thing. And so I think that gave us the confidence to be like, of course we can do this, because we know what people like us want.
Right. I love that. That's great. So when you guys, I don't know, maybe I would need a therapist to do this part, but like when you guys started in business together, did you like set ground rules and like, you know, anything like that? Or have you just naturally worked it out of how you guys manage that?
It ebbs and flows. I think we weren't very good in the beginning of having defined roles and who does what. And then sometimes there's still projects where it bleeds over and we realize, hey, this is feeling like conflicts arising because we each are too into the stake of this specific aspect of the project. And so we kind of have to take some time and kind of regroup and rebreathe. We manage conflict differently. And so that's been one thing that's been really important. But Kara and I were talking before we hopped on, and she said, I used to think we were so different. Like I would put something away and Brett would just set it on the counter, or
all these very
Right.
nuanced things being married. And then we realized after the last year and a half, we are very similar. So the places that our conflict come in are where I'm just a little bit better at her than something, and I have to do it, but it's still not a strength, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So I think we're still navigating those
Yeah, like
things.
you've done all the different personality tests, and it got to be really funny because I think there was like the last one we recently did. I mean, the guy sat down with us and was like, how is this even happening? Y'all are like so similar. Are things okay? But it's like, we're very creative, which both of us are. So that's really helpful. But I think our tension never actually arises in the differences, but the likenesses in the two of us, which is an odd idea.
Yeah, that's a strange idea, but it's really good for you guys. I'm glad that's working out. And I'm sure you're always working on it and always learning and always, getting better at it, which is great. We definitely had a couple of questions from the listeners. So at Montgomery Self, hope I got that right. They asked, what was your first official project you worked together? I think you answered that one. Would you consider that the job you did with the builder or the first spec house you guys did?
Yeah, I think the first one we lived in it for 5 months, and we worked with another builder. We were more observers and more on the design side. And then the first one we ever did was a speculative home. And that's the one that we did fully 100% together.
And do you guys feel like that first spec home, you learned a lot, which would be the obvious question and answer, or do you feel like it went fairly smooth for you guys?
I mean, yeah, there were a few missteps, I think, but for the most part, it went it was probably our smoothest job.
That's funny.
Yeah, maybe because you get a little bolder. I think we were safe. I think you try to, you're not as creative or adventurous as maybe you would be now after you learn some things. And you want it to sell in the market. And so you're like, well, people like this and they do. And then you grow that brand a little bit. But it is actually really smooth. And maybe it was because we just had one project.
Oh, it's because we didn't have kids.
Oh, yeah,
we didn't have kids.
That's
why.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So it simplified everything.
I was like, I feel like it was easy. We had time.
Right. Yeah. You're thinking back, you're like, oh, no, it's the kids. It's the kids.
Yeah.
That's great. I do have a question on that because I know a lot of people, when you watch these shows and you talk to a lot of contractors, they stick with neutral colors and safe things to make sure they appeal to as many people as possible to resell, right? And I think you mentioned that you did that a little bit in some sort of philosophy in your first home. Do you see yourself moving away from that? And is that because you're building your brand, you feel like people want something different? Can you kind of speak to that?
Well, the first one, that was the first speculative home. We haven't actually built another, we had not built another speculative home again for so many years until actually this year, we just rolled out our market homes, which is what we've kind of named our next series of speculative homes. We wanted to give them a little bit an elevated name. Cool. Because they're homes that are going to hit the market, and they're fully designed by us from the floor plan all the way through and built by us. And so now, like looking at these, it's kind of like our step back out to where we began. And we're looking at it differently, and we're bringing in things that we're not playing it safe by any means.
Right. And that's awesome. So, hey, God, I didn't even know I led you into that one. So great plug. Be on the lookout for the market homes from High Street Homes. I think that's a great name. You should go get.
I know. I love it. I love that.
Someone told us that on Instagram.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think it was maybe in Louisville or Louisville. It's in Kentucky, Louisville. Someone, I think in Kentucky, that's what they called it. And I thought, it's really clever instead of a spec house, a market home.
That is.
And they were going to be finished at time of completion, but then we haven't even started to, and they're sold. So we're like, well, maybe they're going to be sold at time of design. So great.
Either way, keep it. It's awesome. It's awesome. Awesome. So another question we had from Gruna Vista Construction, at Gruna Vista Construction. How do you guys organize your days, weeks, and months? So they just kind of want to understand how you guys organize, I guess, everything, the kids, the business, your marriage, and any special tips or tricks.
Well, we're not very do
you have any philosophy? Yeah.
there's a few things. Obviously, there's like the day we pay invoices and the day we collect invoices
Yes.
and the day
Sure.
that we have meetings and the days that we try to push back. I think we're a small team, so it's just the two of us. We're looking for a superintendent. So if there's a great builder out there that is in Fort Worth or in DFW,
There you go.
you give us a shout. We'd love to connect. But for us, there's certain ways that we're trying to automate a little bit. And it is hard because there's someone that says, well, I can only meet at this time. But you're like, well, that gets into my window of how I'm trying to block my days so that I can accomplish all these things at once.
Right.
But we are getting better at that, as sometimes we're like, oh no, we're the owners of the business. So we can say, hey, we're available at this time and this is how we do our process, and we can flex it as needed. But ideally we kind of group that. Atomic Habits has been a really good book for us, and understanding, okay, how do you make things that you don't like really easy. I'll get up early. Kara will stay up late sometimes and work. So we'll kind of tag team that if there's big projects or if there's different things that are happening, and our moms help a lot. So we're really grateful to our moms that are able to pick up kids here or there or flex that for us.
Yeah, I've got a question about that because I follow you guys on Instagram. Obviously, again, check them out. I think you guys are like riding bikes in a neighborhood. Do you live really close to your parents?
Yes.
Was that the deal, or okay?
Yeah.
So you guys live in the same neighborhood.
That's the deal.
Oh, that's great.
It's awesome. Yeah. It's so awesome.
Yeah, just built-in help right in the neighborhood. That is great.
And when they get to the age, they're not quite to the age where I can just like send them out the door and ride the bikes. They're kind of there, but the moment that happens, it's just going to be great. So the kids are like, see ya, bye.
Yeah. I have a 14-year-old, and it's like built-in babysitting, just game changer. So wait till that age, and then you're in real business. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for taking your time to pop in here and go on live with us. Anything else you guys want to tell the audience or plug? Just check you out.
That's the
follow.
most like not exciting pause ever.
We one thing we're really excited about. We House Beautiful, they have their whole home concept house. That is actually coming out tomorrow.
Okay.
I think in their magazine. But we designed a wee shed that will be in a early January, February issue. So we're excited to I think the future of these on-property adult getaways are kind of the future. And so we got to design a really cool small space that is not a she shed.
Oh, I see what that is.
So it's like a couple.
Shed.
Oh, okay.
Property getaway.
Okay.
So it'll be cool. So
cool. All right. So check out. So where can we find that one?
It's going to be in House Beautiful in February, but they'll be storytelling it, I think, starting
tomorrow,
this
maybe.
week. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So check out House Beautiful. Check out Market Homes coming from High Street Homes.
Yes.
Atomic Habits, which I'm going to go take a look because I'm super unorganized.
So good.
Was mentioned there. Yep. And then follow. So follow Brett and Kara. And if you want to learn more, check out episode 74 of the Building Code podcast last June. And we'll be sure to have you guys back on sometime next year, and we'll catch up with you.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you both.
Bye.